Following Donald Trump's first presidential debate with Joe Biden and his unwillingness to condemn white supremacy during that debate, it took him 3 days to finally garner enough courage to finally come out and say that white supremacy should be condemned. It happened during an interview with Sean Hannity. Let's take a listen.
Let me be clear again. I condemn the KKK. I condemn all white supremacists. I condemn the Proud Boys. I don't know much about the Proud Boys, almost nothing, but I condemn that. But he should condemn also Antifa. Antifa is a horrible group of people. They kill people. What they do to people, and they're causing insurrection, they're causing riots. He doesn't want to do that, but the press doesn't go after him, and that's a really bad group of people. But I condemn them, and if I say it 100 times, it won't be enough.
You know, that's the first time I actually heard it. I read an article about it to do the show. That's the first time I heard it. And no, he did the exact same thing he did on that debate stage. In fact, here's what he said on the debate stage.
But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared to specifically
do it?
Well, go ahead, sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call them? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
who would
right
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
So, I mean, I guess the one difference between what you just saw in his interview with Hannity was he didn't encourage the Proud Boys to take up arms and stand by, but he did immediately deflect and focus on Antifa again when his own FBI has repeatedly shown that the real threat is by right-wing gang members in this country, right-wing militias, and that Antifa, there's no credible evidence indicating that they serve as any type of domestic threat, period. That's what the FBI says. Am I gonna believe the FBI or am I gonna believe Donald Trump, a white supremacist?
That's kind of a trick question for me. I don't really trust either one, but in this case, I absolutely would take the word of the FBI over them, especially because we all know that Antifa is literally an idea and it is not an organization, versus these well-organized militias, right? To play on their own Second Amendment, they're well-organized. They are traveling across the country. They are taking terror from state to state, and they are actively killing people, right? And so Donald Trump, I just want to point out two things on this. Donald Trump is so dangerous. Donald Trump knows the Achilles heel of this country. He knows how to strike, when to strike, and how intense to strike, and he's been doing that. And the only other thing I could see in that clip was as he's just talking and running his mouth, I'm just wondering how much COVID-19 is just coming out of his mouth over and over again, and who all did he infect? And not in a funny way, but in a very serious way, because not only is he spreading lies with his mouth, he's spreading COVID-19.
I mean, when you really think about the amount of people who have died because of Donald Trump intentionally downplaying coronavirus, he's definitely more of a domestic security risk than Antifa has ever been. Antifa, again, there's no evidence based on the FBI to indicate that they serve as some sort of risk. And look, the reason why I say I'm more willing to trust the FBI in this case, and by the way, I totally hear you when it comes to the intelligence community and being skeptical of some of the narratives coming out of the intelligence community. But putting that aside, the FBI is not very friendly historically to leftist groups. So for the FBI to come out and say that Antifa doesn't serve as any type of risk, national security risk, means something. It's not like they're ever going out of their way to be like, "Oh, we love leftists. Let's just put out some false positive like PR for leftists." That's not what the FBI does. It's not what they're known for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sorry. You're right. I had nothing else to add there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but I do hear you. I mean, you should be skeptical of reports and claims coming out of the intelligence community, especially when it comes to foreign policy, where the media usually just serves as stenographers for whatever they have to say. But I also want to remind you all of how Donald Trump uses the exact same trick when talking about white supremacy. He does it over and over and over again. He loves to blame both sides. And you're about to see that in this wonderful compilation video put together by our awesome producer, Aishwarya. Take a look.
Will you unequivocally condemn David Duke and say that you don't want his vote or that of other white supremacists in this election?
Well, just so you understand, I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know, did he endorse me or what's going on? Because, I know nothing about David Duke. I know nothing about white supremacists. And so you're asking me a question that I'm supposed to be talking about people that I know nothing about.
When you say the alt-right, define alt-right to me. You define it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying,
define it for me. Come on, let's go. Define
Senator
it.
McCain defined them as the same group.
Okay, what about the alt-left that came charging at him? Excuse me. What about the alt-left that came charging at the, as you say, the alt-right? Do they have any semblance of guilt? You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. You had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. Now, in the other group also, you had some fine people, but you also had troublemakers, and you see them come with the black outfits and with the helmets and with the baseball bats. You had a lot of bad people in the other group too.
Even if you don't know about their endorsement, there are these groups and individuals endorsing you. Would you just say unequivocally you condemn them and you don't want their support?
Well, I have to look at the group. I mean, I don't know what group you're talking about. You wouldn't want me to condemn a group that I know nothing about. I'd have to look. If you would send me a list of the groups, I will do research on them. And certainly I would disavow if I thought there was something wrong. But you may have groups in there that are totally fine, and it would be very unfair. So give me a list of the groups, and I'll let you know.
Give me a
white
name.
supremacists and
white like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
So he's used the same rhetoric, the same equivocating, the same nonsense, because he knows that these are people who support him. And if it's good for his agenda, if it's good for whatever political goal he has, he's gonna go ahead and welcome it with open arms or immediately deflect to focus on this imaginary enemy or imaginary threat. That's what Donald Trump does. So I'm not buying this faux condemnation at all. He gets zero credit. He is a white supremacist. And no, I'm not Joe Biden. I'm not gonna avoid doing negative coverage on Donald Trump because he's destructive, not only to the people of this country, but to the fundamental democratic process that's supposed to make this country great. He's just a bad person through and through, self-interested, absolutely destructive, and doesn't deserve any credit for what he said on Sean Hannity's show, period.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.